He has withdrawn his suit challenging the continued legislative activities by the 25 lawmakers who defected to the APC after their seats were declared vacant. Mr. Ihie's lawyer, Mark Barango, informed the High Court in Port Harcourt of his notice of withdrawal. While presiding judge, Justice F.A. Fiberisima, struck the suit after the withdrawal notice was not objected to by Martin Amehule's lawyer. Well, as you may know, part of the resolutions reached by parties in the political crisis in Rivers State were to withdraw all matters in court. Meanwhile, public affairs analyst Opunabo Nkotaria says it's up to the former lawmaker Edison Ihie to choose the position to serve in. When Mr. Nkotaria was reacting to suggestions that Edison Ihie's reported appointment as chief of staff is a demotion after controversially holding the position of the Speaker, Rivers State House of Assembly.
Although there is no constitutional provision as chief of staff, the governor reserves the right to appoint anybody and give it any name, provided he considers that person worthy of working with him. Whether it is a lesser role, yes, I agree, it's a lesser of. Why? You have the governor, you have the deputy governor, you have the speaker, then the chief judge. So every other position in the state is lower, but he has his reasons. That's why when you consider the circumstances surrounding his emergence, the circumstances also surrounding his exit.
Also, a political scientist, Obi Nawadim, says the governor's decision to appoint Mr. Ihie as his chief of staff may be one of the solutions to the political crisis.
It's all about service to the people. The governor has said that there is no price that is too much to pay. And then from the body language and from the look of things, the principal persons involved in the issues in the state are looking at the political solution to the problem. It's a give and take thing. If Edison decides to leave his position at the House of Assembly and then takes over a position in the government's house, it is also part of the price they are paying.
Moving on, a member of the APC in Rivers State, Chizi Nyomasili, says he's worried that the move by Governor Siminalayi Fubara to settle some legal disputes with the Bayelsa State government may have a political undertone. Mr. Chizi tells correspondent Onyeka Chiwosu that Governor Fubara should have allowed the court to decide.
I just wish that it is not because he's not doing it to curry, because if that, we cannot compromise our right and legal listing on the altar of politics. If the matter is in court, why don't you allow the court to settle it once and for all? And so we know that this thing is considered either to Bayelsa or to Rivers State. But if you are just going to put up a political means, which is good, but if that political means is not to curry favor or some political bias.
But an elder statesman, Anab Saraigbe, said there is nothing political about the moves. He spoke to correspondent Soibi Oruwari.
Rivers State is the capital of the Niger Delta region. The governor of Rivers State must be very receptive. People of Rivers State must also be receptive to other states. Because there are those democracy that will say, Bayelsa and Rivers are not the same. There are those sensible persons that will say, Imo State and Abia State are not the same. There are those sensible states that will say, Enugu State and Benue State are not the same. These are people who have stayed together for so many years. The state was created by the same people. And today, if somebody gives us a try in relationship, and another person comes up to build it, it's a very good development.
Well, during a visit to Governor Doyedire yesterday, Governor Fubara said he is ready to work with the Bayelsa State government to settle the legal disputes over jointly owned property. As you may know, Rivers and Bayelsa State governments are locked in a legal fight following the demolition of buildings belonging to the Bayelsa State government on Akasa Street, OGRA axis of Port Harcourt, and the ownership of Soku oil well. In another development, some stakeholders from Omoma local government area of Rivers State have passed a vote of confidence on Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Well, this is contained in a statement signed by the Commissioner for Energy and Natural Resources, Uche Maximus Nwafo, Coordinator Omoma United for SIM, who is a former special advisor in the Rivers State government, Nwuke Anocha, Leader Omoma Legislative Assembly, Promise Reginald, Youth Leader SPN/Stakeholder Omoma for SIM, Martin Sagomo, Coordinator SPN Omoma Chineye Onyeso, Coordinator Simplified Omoma Prince Nweke, Omoma Local Government Area State Representative Rivers SIM Movement Vincent Nochiri Nweke, and One Rivers Coalition Benson Jackson. While the Energy Commissioner spoke on behalf of the stakeholders after their meeting today.
The people of Omoa local government assures our indefatigable governor of Rivers State, Sasiminala Ifubara, that we are solidly behind him and we will give him our undiluted support any day, anytime. For our son, Barrister Silvanus Wanko, if he doesn't apologize to the governor of Rivers State on that condemnable act of moving a motion of impeachment on the governor, we, the people of Omoa local government, will have no option but to recall him back home, because the mandate that was given to him by Omoma people was for quality representation and not for impeachment of our dear governor of Rivers State.
Away from that, gunmen have kidnapped 4 persons along the Obirikwere Airport Road. The Chief Security Officer of Ikwere Local Government Area, Dixon Mboma Home, tells correspondent Emeko Tuka that the incident happened on Tuesday evening.
I got a call 2 days ago that some hoodlums have blocked the road along Airport to Brickray Road, that there was a lot of shooters. I get to mobilize security men. Getting to this, we saw more than 20 cartridges for the ground for the scene of the crime. So that asking them what happened. Same 16 boys, all of them brand new AK. Then just line up when they are going, they just stop them for the road. Was shooting. Trap it. Then they try to revive their vehicle. Then block them at the back also. After they rob them finish, then pick him the wife that is pregnant, pick him younger brother. Then put for their own scene and move.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the River State Police Command, SP Grace Ringe Koko, said 3 persons were kidnapped during the attack. Still to come, Army to probe candidates claiming Lagos origin in recruitment exercise. Stay tuned. Rights activist Celestine Akpobari is asking the federal government to provide its part of the counterpart fund for the cleanup exercise of the Ogoni environment as contained in the UNEP report. Mr. Akpobari made this call in an interview with correspondent Suibio Ruwari to mark the 31st Ogoni Indigenous Ethnic Nationality Celebration Day, also known as Ogoni Day.
That visit is one that is highly commendable. Not everything needs to end in court, and not everything needs to be done in such ways and manners that begin to create bad blood. Rivers and Bayelsa, we are one people. We have
Apologies for that mix-up in the audio. On his part, the former president of the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People, MOSOP, Legbosi Piagbara, urged the government to involve the Ogonis in the planned resumption of oil exploration in the area.
Today, there are issues of whether 11 or Zoga Ogoni oil and block being handed over to NNPC without any proper discussion with the Ogoni people, and they don't make kill on returning resuming operation in Ogoni. We have not said we don't want oil production. We have said for that to take place, there must be a broad-based discussion with all the stakeholders in Ogoni, looking at the issues of environmental sustainability, looking at the issue of benefit sharing, and looking at the issue of Ogoni participation in.
In another development, the chairman, Board of Trustees, Ogoni Trust Fund Incorporated Hydrocarbon Pollution and Remediation Project, HYPREP, Mike Nwelagi, has called on all Ogoni sons and daughters to remain peaceful as they mark Ogoni Day. Dr. Nwelagi, in a statement, said the struggle led by late environmental activists Ken Sarowiwa is to ensure the Ogonis are freed from political marginalization and environmental degradation. He said the Ogoni cleanup exercise is one of the greatest achievements of the Ogoni struggle, adding that 20 reticulated water projects are ongoing. There is also the Ogoni Power Project, the Ogoni Specialist Hospital in Sakwenwa, the Center of Excellence, Shoreline Protection projects, livelihood programs, and several remediation works that have been completed or are ongoing. While he urged the people to shun allegations regarding funds for the implementation of the project, saying the funds are safe and require strict procedures before they are released. But Dr. Nwelagi also said accounts of the project have been audited by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation and investments overseas audited by the KPMG. As a way of improving transportation in Rivers State, a philanthropist and a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Grant Ofo, has donated 18-seater buses to about 20 underprivileged in Ikwere local government area. While speaking at the handing over ceremony held at Omagwa community, Mr. Ofo said the gesture was aimed at giving means of livelihood to the underprivileged in the area, and he said the donations were not to display wealth, but to give back to society.
A way to support our people, not just every time maybe a lot of people gather. No, the only way to help you people and also to improve rural transportation and also to empower the youth and the elderly. About 25 persons will be beneficiary, but just 20 is the present now, 5. Unfortunately, because of the festive season, by the 5 of the buses are delivered on time, but maybe by next week, the other 5 persons will also receive it.
Mr. Ofo also appealed to the beneficiaries to ensure that the buses are maintained.
My advice to whoever may benefit, one, understand that this vehicle for pleasure vehicle is a mix of empowerment. Drive it with care, take care of it.
Some beneficiaries of the free buses spoke to our correspondent.
This motto is called Finger of God. So it was given to me by Chief Engineer Grant Ofo, whom God have excelled.
We that you also empower, we are also to empower people. Just as what he said. If you carry a person and the person says you don't have money, you must know that how we got it is from the grass level. We must also ask if an individual can use his hard money without government money, without fraudulent people, without asking for government assist. What I owe him is prayer.
Our correspondent reports that the beneficiaries cut across families of the community, including pensioners, widows, youths, people who lost their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic, and some bus conductors who could not afford vehicles. The Nigerian Army says it will probe the case of some northern candidates in its regular recruits intake, claiming Lagos as their state of origin, while the candidates from Kaduna State even presented certificates of indigenship of Lagos State, but they were arrested when they could not prove their claims. On the foreign scene, a woman in her 80s has been pulled from the rubble of her collapsed house in Japan 72 hours after the New Year's Day earthquake. And that's the news. But before we go, let's take a look at the highlights of the major stories on the news this evening. You heard that former lawmaker Edison Ehi has withdrawn his case against the 25 lawmakers who defected from the PDP to the APC. Now, mixed reactions are trailing Governor Fubara's decision to peacefully settle legal disputes with Bayelsa State. The army is to probe candidates claiming Lagos as their state of origin in its recruitment exercise. On the foreign scene, an 80-year-old woman has been pulled out from the rubble 72 hours after an earthquake in Japan. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. Now, to reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Constance Mega. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
Politics, business, lifestyle, economy, social events, all of these and more make us what we are, human beings. Where else do you start your conversations but on 92.3 Nigeria Info?